Apple II forever, making life better and better. Apple II forever and ever, bringing the rainbow.
Okay, so I am winging it, but I think this is still going to be interesting. We'll see. I hope so. So what I'm actually talking about, maybe I can find a sort of a picture that is relevant here. I'm talking about the AppleCat II modem, and so oh come on, there must be a, well anyway, it's so the thing about it is it played actually sort of an important role in a lot of people's sort of 1980s life, and it seems like it's not very well documented. So to what extent do people here know the AppleCat II, or did you use it? Yeah, okay, so like, I don't know what that, I would say 15% maybe, So it was a modem, it was a modem, right? That was the primary thing. It was just used for communicating with BBSs, transferring files, that sort of thing. And it came out at a time when things were mostly 300 baud. So 300 baud was the kind of the standard. You could get 1200 baud, but it was expensive. And so, let's see, Novation is the company. Maybe I'll show this just as this was in the garage giveaway. And I didn't pick it up, but it was lent to me for the purpose of holding this up. So what this is it's the Novation Cat. And so this was by the same company, like a predecessor modem that looked like this. In fact, actually, I have a camera that I can point at it. It looked like that. When it was new, it had less dust. But, so it just has ports. This model of the modem actually was used by a number of different companies. So Apple did have an Apple version of this. They sold as, I think it was part of the Modem 2A, Modem 2B package. They are hard to find, but they are just that. They're just that with an Apple sticker on it. And Radio Shack had one as well. So Novation was big in the modem world, and the AppleCat II was sort of a follow-up on that. Well, actually, let me ask this question. I have one of these. I was going to try to test it, and I don't know if it actually works. But this is a networker. Did anyone have the networker? Okay, some people did. Yeah, the Zoom Telephonics networker. It's a little bit out of order, I think, in a way that I think the networker came out a little later than the AppleCat. I do remember. So this is the 80s. Many of us were in high school or thereabouts. Things were kind of clicky, So the Apple was great, the Commodore was terrible, and the people who were already on the BBSs, the Christmas these came out, were, that was like the end of civilization. Like suddenly all these new people who didn't know what they were doing with this cheap modem were everywhere. Anyway, but okay, so the AppleCat II was a bit pricey, but one of the kind of the hooks of it, the sort of major thing that would lead you to get it, is that it could do 1200 baud modem, 1200 baud transfers cheaply. And so what it did, it had a sort of a special, it used the Bell 202 protocol. So Bell 103 is the 300 baud full duplex protocol. Bell 202 is 1200 baud, but it's only half duplex. And I don't know the technology or the details of the specifications, why it's more complicated to do full duplex than half duplex, but it is. I mean, I think one, if I'm not mistaken, one direction goes at sort of like one frequency and the other goes at the other frequency, and you have to sort of do both in order to do full duplex. And when I say full duplex, I suppose I should probably say what that is in case there is somebody who doesn't know. But half duplex means you can only sort of talk in one direction. So you can talk, but you're not listening. And then, you can do that either direction. And then full duplex, you can talk and listen at the same time. So modem transfers, usually the modem transfer would go pretty much one direction. Like you're downloading a file, but it is still useful to be able to say, yeah, I got that block, no, please send that block again, that sort of thing. So what the AppleCat enabled you to do is go sort of half duplex, but 4 times the speed, right? So they enabled this half duplex 1200 baud transfer, and had sort of a technique for doing transfers, which is basically they would turn it into like send mode. If you were sending the block to someone else, you would send a bunch of data, and then you would drop back down to 300 baud, so you could ask, was that okay? And if it was, then you would send it back out again. So this was a very popular modem among the people that distributed cracked games. So I was kind of looking through this. So I didn't actually find very many specific things, but you can just sort of look through these crack screens, and many of them will have phone numbers of places you can call. And if you didn't have an AppleCat, you still probably on some of these, if you were, unless you bought everything that you had, you probably saw some references to cat fur, and that's I'll show a little bit of that. So as I say, it's not necessarily proud moments in all of our histories, but they are significant moments, and I think in a lot of our histories that this is the way we transferred things, and it really did seem like, well, so first of all, nothing emulates the AppleCat as far as I'm aware. I thought about maybe trying to do that. Maybe I can try to figure out how to do that later. But as of now, I don't think anything can emulate it, which means that but we can't really relive this because it was sort of a proprietary thing. So anyway, so I have a couple of these, and what I was planning on doing was sort of just showing you how it worked. And so there are a couple of things that are special about the AppleCat. Let me I have 7 million wires here, and among them are interesting pieces. But okay, so let me pull out. Okay, so this is an AppleCat. I will point this little camera at it. Okay, so you can sort of see it in the room and on the screen, possibly not in focus. But so it's a fairly long card. It has this big. If you see it on eBay unidentified, you will see this big Novation box. I don't know what it's covering, something. It's pretty complex. It has a lot of stuff on it. Now, if I zoom way in here, there is, you probably can't read it, but there's a little chip here that says Novation firmware. So it says, Novation 490408, copyright 1982, it's a firmware. So this thing was optional. See if I can get it to focus. Can't, but anyway, it was optional. You could add it. Okay. You could add it if you wanted your modem to act like a Hayes modem. So it wouldn't automatically have any sort of firmware response. You couldn't just say pair number 2 and do something. There's a manual that tells you what you do to make it do something, but it doesn't by default act like a Hayes modem. So that was one kind of strike against it. It was kind of an add-on that you get this. And so now it took me a long time to get the firmware. There's another thing. So I will show you I'll show you the space for it. There's an empty thing there. You might be able to see it says tone receiver option. And what that is if you get a particular chip, maybe I will show you the particular chip. It's capable of hearing a touch tone and telling you what it was, right? So if somebody called you and dialed 45, your computer would say, oh, okay, you dialed 45. Okay, I'm gonna disconnect some things here. Okay, this is probably not super important, but here's one with the touch tone chip in it. Another very difficult piece to find. Anyway, yeah. So I have this one that I have in my hand is the sort of most decked out one. So this actually came with a number of different options, and so maybe I'll point the camera at that in a bit here. where is it? So I think I accidentally had put this up before, but you could get a second board that would give you full duplex 1200. So you could get an AppleCat. It could do the 103 and 202, but then also 212, which is the Bell 212. Bell 212 is the 1200 baud full duplex. And so if you get that, it's a second board, which is here. And in a second, I will probably put the camera in the computer and show you how it all connects together. But so there's a oops, yeah. Let me bring the camera up here. Okay, so there's a second card. This is a 212. It basically gives you the other direction. It's super complicated, actually. I mean, so it must be hard to get full duplex. But anyway, it's possible to set this in a slot, but you don't actually need to. So let me see how far I can carry this camera over. Probably not very far. I have a better idea. I'm going to turn the table. Okay. There. I think it's possible I can get close enough to see. Oh, and happy anniversary to the 2C. But I'll get close enough to see this here. I have lost a cable. I think that must be this one. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that was. I think when I turned, So am I back there? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now there are a couple of cute things about this. This thing. Okay. So let me point this at that. You could get this little add-on piece. Dare I take this all the way out? I guess I could. So it's possible you might recognize this piece if you were watching National Lampoon's Vacation very carefully. They did sort of early on. They did it like they plotted a roadmap or whatever, and they did it on an Apple II. And on the back of their Apple II, they had one of these things. So if you look at the little freeze frame shot, it's this little, maybe I'll turn it the right direction up. It's a communications module. What does it say? Yeah, something like that. And it basically, it externalizes the stuff to the back of your computer. But it also has a bunch of other stuff on it. So this has many, many ports. And that's, I think, what's cool about the AppleCat 2, is that it can do all this stuff. So there's, you can see there's a little place that you can plug in the modem, the phone. You can plug in the receiver. You can plug in a full RS-232 port thing. So it's actually possible to plug a different modem into this. And underneath, so here, sort of in the middle, there's this thing with 4 pins. And what that is they call it a BSR unit. It's X10. It's an X10 controller. So what this is capable of doing, I guess they had this in mind. I don't know that anyone actually did it, but what it's capable of doing is answering the phone, recognizing that you typed 45, and turning a lamp on, right? It also has a connection for so audio out, so it could record a call, and it even has a little. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little small one that's a remote, meaning it can start and stop the tape recorder. So you could make this into an answering machine that could turn your lights on and off. And the other thing that people used it for. In order to generate the touch tones, so if you're trying to dial someplace, it actually has inside of it a digital audio converter, and it builds those touch tones itself. It superimposes the 2 sound waves in order to make a 4 or make a 3 or whatever. And the thing is, you can use that. You can do things other than make numbers with that. I mean, you can make music with that, for example. And so I think. Ultimately, that's the thing that's cool about this, is that it could do so much stuff. It had all of these things that it could do, and of course, that same group of people who was interested in sending cracked programs to one another were also kind of interested in generating tones with computers to do things like make a payphone think you put a quarter in and that kind of thing, right? And so that's a lot of the kinds of stuff you can do. The other thing that is cute about this, and unfortunately I've got so much stuff here that it's a little hard to see, but so I will do this on the screen, but you can see this in the ads, and it's really kind of hilarious. They have these little hooks that go in the vents. So the ones I'm holding up, here I'll hold them in front of the camera too. The ones I'm holding up are reproductions. So James Littlejohn made some reproductions and sold them, and I bought them because I must have had them at some point, but I lost them. But so you just put them in the slots, sort of like like a fan, and then you can. Oops. Well, if you put them in right, it'll just hang there, and so you can use this as a phone. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's ridiculous in a way, but I mean, anyway. So, honestly, I do not know why, what happened to Novation. I mean, I think it must be that they just kind of collapsed corporately at the point when this was over, because they never went beyond this. I mean, after that, you would just get external 2400 baud modems, 96, 14.4. I mean, it didn't take very long before we left this way behind. But this thing could do so much more than just communicate at 1200 baud. Okay, so let me see if I can successfully reassemble this on camera. That is quite possibly, that might be quite possibly dangerous here, but because part of what I wanted to do was show, maybe this is visible, how the 212 card works. So the 212 card, I think I mentioned this, but you can put it in a slot. It's got a thing, but really what it needs is communication and power. So they had a slot saver option, which let you put it on the power supply. So there's a little sort of dark plastic thing shielding the metal of the power supply, and then these clips that they gave you. And then there's a little way that you can I don't know if I can, I'll show it here. It sort of taps into the power, so it'll send the power up to the card, and then that's all we've got. So then you don't need a slot, and you can you can have your 1200 baud. Maybe this is a time that I can say, I can't get a lot of this stuff to work. I have a lot of this stuff, and I can't. I'm not sure that. I don't know how well it works. So the X10, for example, I will plug everything in, and I will show you how nothing changes, nothing clicks when I hit the button. I do believe that, so maybe people here know the X10 system. Radio Shack used to sell these. They're like little remotes that would sort of click, lamps on across the house. Everybody that had them used them to turn on and off Christmas tree lights. And it's the same system. And in fact, I think they should, talk to each other. But okay, so let me see if I can reassemble this, just because. Okay. Sorry, not all that interesting watching someone put something on pins. Interesting if I misalign the pins and then turn it on, I suppose. But okay, right. So this little box. Oops. This little box. There's a number of different connections on it. It connects to. There are these two things at the end, which are here. One of them is for the receiver, and one of them is for the phone. And then this bigger one is for the RS-232 port. So I will plug those in. And while I'm doing that, I will say I tried to get it to I have somewhere here. I have some of these Wi-Fi 232 Wi-Fi 232 type modems. I have 3 of them, which are basically what those are supposed to do is you plug them into a serial port, and then you can dial over the internet as if it were a modem. So people are running BBSs that that will respond and make it feel like you can use your Apple II to call something over the internet basically, and I should be able to get one of those to talk over the RS-232 port here, and I think I basically just like I have 3 of them and the first 2 didn't work. Like the actual Wi-Fi modems weren't working. So maybe next year I can show all this stuff actually working, but at least I can show you what it's kind of supposed to do. And you can appreciate like what a machine it was. Okay, so let me maybe put this where it can possibly see what I'm doing. But okay. So if you don't have this box in the back, there are, oh yeah, I'll show you these 2. But if you don't have the box in the back, you have these separate little wires that you plug in. If you do have the box in the back, these are sort of built into the box. Okay. Okay, and then there's a communication wire. I know I had it here. That connects the 212 card to the ribbon cable that connects the 212 card to the main card. This connector is actually, it's a big long row of pins, but it's actually accepting 2 different plugs. So pin 1 is actually like in the middle, coming from one side, and then you plug the remote box in, or the expansion box in on the other side, like so. Okay, good, yeah. I've mostly reassembled this now. I will start it at some point, and that will be more interesting. Okay, so what? Oh, there's my screensaver. That's nice. Okay, so yeah, this is the Apple Cat 2 kind of assembled with this hanging out the back. You can see that it comes with double-sided tape. Let's see, how can I make this vertical? And you stick it to that, and I tried to get it off, but whatever. It didn't work very well. I thought I wanted to be able to take the thing off, but it was originally on this machine when I got it, and that's what people would do with it. They would block off. They just sort of stick it on the back like that. This guy. Okay. Now the thing that I wanted to try to do. Let me carry this over to this. I have this device, which I will point at. It is an open house something. It has some number, but what it is, you can see it's got a little blinking light. Is that visible? Yeah, it's kind of obscured by this phone cord. What it is it's kind of like an in-house PBX, like a private branch exchange that just lives in your house. And so I think what you're supposed to do with it is just, you want to call someone downstairs, they're on extension 14, you pick it up, you dial 14 and their phone rings. The thing that's sort of useful about this now for us is that it's not really clear that modems are going to work anymore on like regular phones, and who has a regular phone anyway. So I got this sort of specifically for this purpose, that I could plug in, I could plug a modem into it and then call the other modem through it, never touching the outside world. And so that is what I have attempted to do. So if everything works, I will bring up CatFur and transfer a file, just so you can see what CatFur looked like, what all those boards were asking me to call. Maybe before I do that, let me sort of hold up the. Okay, so these things are the X10 modules. So there's you like plug a lamp into it, and then the Apple Cat will send a signal saying, we are house N, you are device 2, turn off. And then there's a similar one, the appliance module, which I think basically it has a relay in it so you can hear it click when it works, and it can handle sort of like larger current draws. And then this is the guy that plugs into the back. So here's the thing that goes onto the pins. And as I say, I know how it's supposed to work. I've plugged it in, and I have not actually gotten it to work. And I don't know if it's because X10 doesn't work anymore, or if it's because something in these boxes doesn't work anymore. So I would kind of like to find that out if someone can help me troubleshoot that, because it would be neat to get this actual Novation stuff to work again. I have a dream of calling this thing up and dialing 45 and have a lamp turn off. Or actually, what would be even neater, I think, is to plug itself, have it turn itself off. But okay. Anyway, yeah, that's basically what the AppleCAD is, and I will post a video that shows the transfer happening. And if you were one of the people who are used to hearing it, you will recognize the little like whoop 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 thing that it makes, you know, when the transfer either fails or succeeds. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I should probably cut it off here. So sorry for the disorganization. I hope it was interesting. Thanks. And this has Cat for 3.2 on it. There are various versions. Whatever. 3.2 is what we're going to use because I know how to find it. Okay. Right. So it'll come up here. Okay. Anyway, now once this, there are a couple of different ways, things you can do with this. Modem mode. Let's see. Let me zoom in on that. Okay. So modem mode will let you choose between originate and answer. So the question being, the question being answered is whether you're calling someone or answering the call. I want to make this one originate. Terminal is, let's see, I'll show you terminal. Terminal, and I hit question mark. That shows me the options. I can dial, I can enter the transfer section, I can quit, hang up, run a DOS command, various things. Dial is what we're going to do here. Now, okay, so here we're in zone 15. So if the phone number of that one is 15. Now I'm going to plug in this computer here. This one is going to be 16. I will show you what is in here. Basically what's in here is just the AppleCAD. That's the only relevant thing. So the AppleCAD's in there. This one doesn't have the box on the back, so it's just plugged into these little cable things. This is where the receiver would go. This is where the phone cord does go. Okay, and so I will close that back up. Turn it on. This is how we will watch it. Okay, so now this one's going to come up and look the same, except on this little screen. We're going to make this one be the answering one. So this one is originate. This one is going to be answer. So I'm going to switch that to answer by hitting M. Right. Focus on that. Okay, there we go. So now it says answer. Right. Good enough. I think that's good enough. So now I'm going to go to the computer on the right. I'm going to dial a number, and that number is going to be 15. Okay. And the reason it's going to be, no, it's not, it's going to be 16. So I am at 15, I'm going to call 16. So dial 16. Okay, it will dial, and we can hear it. And now this one is saying the phone is ringing. So I will now enter the transfer. There's E. And we'll await the carrier. Alright, so they connected. I didn't really hear the carrier, but there was a carrier. So now we're up here, term. There are a couple of different options you can do at this point. I just had to relearn all this stuff. But Control Q will take you to the menu. Question mark will give you a list. Dial is what we just did. But we are now connected. You can see it says carrier up there. So I can hit enter transfer section, E. And now both screens look like this. You can see, sort of. Right, okay. So both screens have this transfer function on them. And if I want to ask that computer what it has, I can just receive the catalog. So I'm going to tell it, send me your catalog. I will hit R. There's two different sections here, commands and chat. So right now I'm in chat. I can say hi. When I said hi, we will see that it was replicated over here. I could, if I wanted to, say on the back. Yellow. Okay, up here, that does come back. So it is possible to do sort of chatting back and forth. If I want to get up to the command section, I hit escape. Escape. There we go. And now I can ask for the catalog. Receive catalog. It's going to read the catalog tracks, and you can see the data kind of goes by there at the top. Just kind of cool. Right. Go, 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 go. If you look at the other screen, it's going on the other side. So that one's sending, that one's receiving. Whether it's on the left or the right is sort of determined by whether it's sending or receiving. Okay, so here we have a catalog. Actually, look up here. So we received this catalog, which means this catalog is on the computer down here. Okay, and then we can just put the cursor up here and start selecting things if we want. So suppose we wanted to, let's see if I'm right. Okay, there are two files that are not here. Those two files are test A and test B. So let me, I'm gonna try to get back. So I'm gonna hit B, which is sort of leaves the selection menu, and then I'm gonna quit to the main menu. Okay, so now I'm back here. I'm going to send my catalog. So this is basically the same disk, except the one that I'm sending has the files test A and test B. And the one that it's sending to does not. So I can show you sending things. Okay, so here is now the catalog from the machine on the right. It has test A, file selected, and start with transfer, and it should go. And then we'll sing a happy song when it is done. Okay, that song is something that makes you very happy because it means that the transfer is finished. Your night-long journey is complete. Anyway, okay, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. This transfer program is something that people use a lot. There are a couple of other interesting things here too. So this is the cat's meow. This is another kind of thing you can do. This is basically using a tone generator. So I can make it play things like a dial tone, which I did here. There. Okay. Control C will make it stop. Busy signal. Control C. I can have it play. So if you're at a payphone and you put in a nickel, it would sound like this. If you put in a dime, it would sound like this. If you put in a quarter, it would sound like this. If you called a Alliance teleconference, you would hear this. The conference dial tone. Let's see what else. There's other things on the other menu. Switch to menu 2. Let's pick. I guess I can shoot this at the screen here. It can dial. So it can dial all of the regular numbers, 1, 2, 3. It can also make a 2600 hertz tone. If you were wondering. It can also do ABCD, which are other different DTMF codes. So I guess if you were in a situation where your phone connection still did 2600 stuff, this is how you do it. You can send the 2600 line, switch to blue box tone mode, and then start calling Vatican or whatever is eating. Okay, when we are finished with that, I will quit to the menu. Yeah, so that's what you can do with the digital audio thing. What else? So the other thing that this was supposed to do is so I have a couple of these things. They are X10 controls. So they control appliances and things through the house over the power lines. Radio Shack and things like this. So here are the devices. This is a lamp module. So it has a house code. You can see this house code is set to A, and the unit code is set to 2. It takes a 2-prong plug. And the idea is that you plug that in, and then your AppleCat sends a command to A2. So house code A, device 2, and then it sends some sort of command like turn on, or turn off, or maybe toggle, I'm not sure. This thing, the part where it fits this innovation, actually plugs into the expansion box. So we follow this code to its end, and you will see it has, so it has this little four holes, and they go onto the 4 pins here. Here are the 4 pins. Okay, plug it in. Unwisely while the computer's on, but okay, right. So now it is plugged in. Let me take this to ComWare, and I can show you how it doesn't actually do anything, but it's supposed to. ComWare is the program that came with the AppleCat, and so it has sort of example programs basically for a lot of this stuff. So things that help you run the BSR units, things like a terminal program. Oh, another thing that this is capable of doing. I think I gave you a little tour of this expansion box before. It is capable of on the set player, you have often these two little, well, you have several little jacks. On this one, we have mic, we have, what's it called, RAM, probably? Yes. And then ear. So ear is where you put the headphones because they go into your ear. Yeah, I think that's useful. Okay, so this one is labeled ear because you put it, the wire that goes to your ear goes to this hole, right? This wire goes to this plug here. The plug here is labeled mic. My hypothesis is that that's labeled mic because the wire that you put into the mic jack goes there. It's sort of counterintuitive in normal audiophile usage. Normally, the mic would be here and the speaker would be there, and that's how you connect. But I think this must be sounded out. Okay, and then the remote wire goes to the little jack over here. And what that does is basically controls whether the cassette player is playing or not. So if you are recording, this can either turn on or off the recording. So what this basically enables overall is the creation of an answering machine. Okay, so it's a compliance module. I'm going to make this. Right now it says house code P. I'm going to switch it to house code A. Unit 3. Okay. Everything's right. I've plugged it into this little cheesy, old school 2-prong extension cord, hoping that there's nothing there filtering out the extend signal. I don't think there's anything there filtering out the extend signal, but it doesn't work. I can show you how it's supposed to look, though. So this is ComWare. I'm going to quit. And on this disk, there are example programs. Okay, so what we've got, we have in the ComWare program itself, which I haven't showed you around, but that's there. And there's a little binary program called BSR there near the bottom. That is what we're going to use to try to run the BSR thing. Under that is a program called CatPack. That's just a bunch of sort of useful routines. If you were going to write your own program, they provide a source code listing for that in the manual. Okay, so I'm going to load BSR. BSR starts at 800, which I will verify, but I'm pretty sure it does. Okay, so I just loaded the BSR program and it lives at 800. 800G. It says enter house code. This is house code A, right? let's see. House code A. So A. And then enter device code. 1 to 18, where 17 is all off, so, and then 18 is all on. So a device will listen for its own number. It will ignore things that, commands the code is something that's not its own number. But they will all listen for 17 and 18. So if a device hears either its own number, shut off, or 18, or 17, I guess, then it will shut off. If it hears its own number, turn on, or 18, turn on, it will turn on. So I'm going to, just in the interest of making this do something, I'm going to try turning everything on, even though we know this is device 3. And it hangs. It does nothing. It is not supposed to do nothing. It is supposed to, actually it is supposed to click. There's a little relay in here. Something's not working and I need to try to figure out what that is. But anyway, yes, so in principle, this thing should be able to turn on and off lights and things. So I'm going to assume this will never work and it will never stop. And I'm just going to reboot Conware. Okay. So this takes a while. Meanwhile, I will tell you what I want to try to do next. So another thing this can do is recognize touch tones. There's two more things it can do. So I put it in the touch tone decoder chip so that if I type a number at it, it should be able to recognize it in the tone of a code that is. I have yet to figure out how to test to see if that works. I think the manual says that if you are in the terminal program and you type and you get a number sent to you, then it will show it to you in the terminal. As I said, I've yet to get this to work. And so I should be able to dial something. So I'm on line 16, I should be able to dial 15. It would ring in principle. This thing beeps because it thinks there's a ring. So that's good, I mean it's doing something. Let's try it. Okay, so I'm going to dial 15 again. 15. And then I'm going to pick up the phone. P. Okay. I'm now in voice mode. And I'm now going to dial 4. Oh, look at that, it worked. I've never seen this work before. This is very exciting. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Star 0 pound. That's excellent. I've never seen it, but so the touch tone decoder works. Nice. Okay, so if I could get the power thing to work, then I could recognize touch tones. And if you type the right code, it could shut itself off. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so that's farther than I've ever seen this go. I'm very pleased. Anyway, whatever. These are the things it can do. I've shown you some of the things it can do. And I'm going to have to edit so much out of this anyway that that's good enough. So, all right, thanks. Bye.